Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another Propagandacast with me, your host, Imperial Dane. And today I have for you a rather special program. Yes, indeed, I've decided to try a bit of an experiment in terms of episodes, having gotten a bunch of replays yesterday. A few of them were rather short, but then again I thought, why not try something a bit different? Why not try to weave a sort of slightly bigger narrative, sort of, try and continue that whole fictitious World War II battle thing, and then sort of turn it over into a larger series of battles in sort of small operation, in this case Operation Flash, as I've decided to call it. Operation Flash, the clearing of the last lifeline of the Cotentin Peninsula. As the Americans are closing in, the Germans only are holding a small strip, allowing them to move in supplies and evacuate the wounded. The Americans are of course quite keen on getting that closed, and to this they have set about the 1st Infantry Division. The first battle will be the clearing of this small town and the surrounding heights, which act as a artillery observation posts for the German, overlooking the entire area of that last bit of strip. And of course the Americans, being rather keen on not getting their heads full of artillery, want to clear out that area. So here you go, the first of two battles, with Captain Al Rage of Dog Company, 1st Infantry Division, being tasked with clearing this area for America, while Hauptsturmführer Quino of the 17th SS Panzer Grenadiers, who has been posted in this area, being the only one nearby, to act as an artillery observer. But of course that's not currently what he's going to be doing. He's going to be doing his best to hold this piece of area. So who shall win? How shall this operation fare? I cannot say. Kettenkraut on the move, Panzer Grenadiers, nothing unusual there, and from Mr. Outrage Barracks, nothing unusual there either. Of course, one thing to note, there won't be any mid-game analysis of these two. They're a bit too short, and I'm rather trying to keep this sort of more of a flow thing, and of course a bit faster, since I'm dealing with two games, so I sort of have to sort of make some decisions, make some priorities, and sort of try to keep things alright, so it doesn't get too long and it takes too much time for me to get all of this together, and there might also be some confusion. So anyhow, feedback will be most appreciated after all of this little experiment. Did you like it? Did you not? What worked? What didn't work? Anyhow, Operation Flash, first bit is underway. The clearing of the heights and the nearby town. Panzer Grenadiers continuing to stream outwards. Gewehr 43 is being equipped, seizing this strategic point. Otherwise, American engineers surging outwards to both sides. Probably going to be some riflemen out of this little barracks. Rather nice view here actually, and we do spot some Panzer Grenadiers in the distance. Riflemen moving out as well. And we see this area secured. The 17th SS troops rather focusing heavily on the western part. Engineers coming under fire. And my goodness, he gets those engineers inside the house. Quite interesting. Gives them quite a bit of protection from the Panzer Grenadiers. In fact, it seems like they're quite delaying these Panzer Grenadiers. Instead of perhaps continuing their usual task, they are now basically bogged down dealing with those engineers. In fact, riflemen are using this to move in on the Panzer Grenadiers. In fact, getting the drop on them and quite a bit of firepower on them. Quite interesting maneuver right here from Outrage. Not a bad one, in fact, and again, heavy cover is directional. So for example here, not the best of spot, but they are quick to get behind. More cover behind the pickup truck, opening up on the engineers. Further Panzer Grenadiers are arriving from the north. Engineers might have to evacuate the building, but these riflemen are certainly busy tying down this many Panzer Grenadiers, while the rest are busy in the east. Not a bad move, quite an interesting one. In fact, Panzer Grenadiers now surging inside the house, setting up a rather strong position, and the riflemen are quick to get out of there, realizing they won't get much. In fact, one is dropped right as he reaches the lamppost. And is this? No, that's a bin or a trash can. And now the riflemen are taking up positions in the house. Panzer Grenadiers standing outside. Might further riflemen move into support, or might they ignore them, instead get the drop on them? No, they do move in to support those in the house. Quite a bit of firepower on all sides, but these riflemen are a bit exposed. And Kettenkraut being discovered in its sneaky business of harassing and seizing American fuel. Those chaps inside the house are not doing too well. In particular, one seems to be having a fit as he is dying. And the Panzer Grenadiers secure this fuel point as well. The western area has been secured for the fatherland. Panzer Grenadiers pushing towards here. 4th team arriving. No weapon support support so far. Cotentin is lost though. Rifleman will have to get out of there. Won't do much good longer. No, just barely getting out. That's going to be a bit expensive in reinforcement, but still tying down this many panzer grenadiers with so few forces. Not a bad idea, certainly interesting. And what is this? Weapon support center up for outrage. Quickly calling in some heavier support measures to deal with the panzer grenadiers. Quite interesting. And we're in fact seeing more panzer grenadiers coming out from Queno, and now our Cotentin, but no support weapons, no half tracks or anything, just infantry. And Cotentin's a bit of an interesting or curious disposition, depending on who you ask. Not entirely sure I'm comfortable with it, in particular now that we of course know there's a weapon support center on the way, and he should sort of be expecting that either that or a motor pool is coming, yet he has nothing to prepare himself for either. And a heavy machine gun is on the way. Not a bad move to deal with all of these panzer grenadiers in such large numbers. And looks like there are munitions for another Gewehr 43. Question is, of course, if that will be chosen. And panzer grenadiers moving in here for a bit of harassment, but oh, there we go, harassing both points, thus cutting off this area from the Americans. Quite a lot of pressure on the Americans, in fact. Rather heavy panzer grenadier insertion from the 17th SS and Queno, Abschirmführer Queno. But not much else though. These panzer grenadiers are quickly getting outnumbered and will have to retreat. There we go, getting them out in good time though. Losing one man in the progress. Might have been Deinhardt. Meanwhile, we are seeing further here moving about. Nothing else though. Heavy machine guns getting closer and closer, and these panzer grenadiers are getting out. Not doing much else though. And we are finally seeing a building, a Kampfgruppe Company. Plenty of fuel and manpower for the 17th SS. We'll of course be seeing what they will be doing with that Kampfgruppe Company. Will it just be one thing on the stop towards an armored car, or will it be something more useful? Cannot say. Riflemen taking up position right here in front of the building. Perhaps not the best place to be, since they're only light cover, while the panzer grenadiers are in garrison cover, which is quite effective. Riflemen taking quite a bit of fire. Heavy machine gun though setting up, getting the drop and firing off a lot more bullets. And now the panzer grenadiers in fact taking quite a few losses and are slowly retreating from the building, being rather exposed. Luftwaffe doctrine has been chosen. Apparently sounding about what few Luftwaffe personnel that can be scrounged from this area, and the Cotentin quickly getting camouflaged. The Cotentin in fact being used by the Luftwaffe to sort of drag around airplanes on the airfields and acting as a sort of light artillery tractor elsewhere. So not, I suppose, completely odd. So probably being dragged out from any nearby airfields, although I don't know if there were any in the vicinity of that. Panzer grenadiers moving outwards, south. And yes, indeed, we are seeing a straight move for the armored cars. Nothing highly unusual there, but with that heavy machine gun, things might end up badly for our rage. And we are seeing a mortar up, though. These panzer grenadiers might get a nasty surprise once those mortar rounds begin falling amongst them. And there we go, retreating in the face of the 30 caliber Browning machine gun. Americans pushing up towards the west, while panzer grenadiers are pushing towards the east. Rather interesting move. Cotentin acting as a sort of spotter, reconnaissance units, keeping in tap on the Americans. Mortars, though, opening up on these panzer grenadiers in the east. One down already, my goodness. We'll have to get out there, they are in low health. Riflemen charging in, there were barely any members. Not entirely sure that's a good idea. There we go, retreating, and we are in fact seeing grenades up from our rage. In fact, let's go switch over just for the fun of it. Further riflemen hitting the field. So far only 2 riflemen teams, but heavy machine guns and mortars of course provides quite a bit of a force multiplier for those chaps. And we are seeing one engineer with very low health doing a bit of harassment, and we are seeing an armored car crashing through the brush and the bushes, and looks like this engineer will be regretting not getting back reinforcements. There we go, dead, cut apart by the autocannon. And oh dear, another engineer team is lost. My goodness, the entire engineer complement for your company has been lost. Further ones will have to be called in. Nice mortar round right there, and these panzer grenades doing quite a bit of damage, killing one. And riflemen charging in. Will we be seeing a grenade on them? Armored car though opening up, forcing away the mortar team. Heavy machine gun might be able to open up with some armor piercing rounds or not. Apparently not. The armored car quick to get out of there before the 30 caliber can open up on them. Instead going straight for the riflemen. Riflemen standing quite exposed. They might be able to do a bit of damage to this armored car, though armored cars not being that thickly armored. So there we go, down to half health. If they get into heavy cover, they might in fact be able to do even more. And of course survive even better in the face of the auto cannon. Blasting away, tearing apart riflemen. Panzer Grenadiers on the wrong side, having to retreat. Although further heavy losses for the riflemen. Infantry 1 though up. Good job. And we are seeing a mortar half-track coming up. Good job rounding in some support for his troops. This armored car though engine is damaged. And now we are seeing BARs being equipped. We'll be able to unleash even more firepower on these armored cars. In fact, looks like the armored car might be lost. Will that be the happen? Yes indeed, and there we go. Luftwaffe personnel being dragged in from some nearby airfield. No Luftwaffe Felddivision actually being ready at that time. And looks like this 30 caliber will have to get out of there most swiftly before the mortar knocks it out.
Infantry squad
and too late. Riflemen continuing their hunt. Catching one Panzer Grenadier, but they are taking heavy losses and will have to retreat. Even those Luftwaffe might actually be able to take them out, but no, he does not have confidence in his Luftwaffe troops, instead retreating them as well. These chaps are forced to retreat. Things are still not looking too good for Dog Company and our Rage. They are able to do quite a bit of damage, but at the same time, so are the Panzer Grenadiers of the 17th.
observation posts report we are losing a sector.
Fun fact, the 17th SS was really the only Panzer Grenadier division in Normandy. The rest were either Infantry, Grenadier, or, well, Panzer divisions. There weren't really a lot of Panzer Grenadiers. So that was a fun thing. Quite nice covering position from the building, and Panzer Grenadiers in here getting the drop on these, suppressing them, in fact, right out in the road. One rifleman down. In fact, it is the squad leaders, and no radio communications for them. Mortar rounds now hitting from the mortar half-track. Grenades so being dropped right into the house. Mortar landing right in amongst the riflemen. They will have to retreat down on low health. Further riflemen moving in. Heavy losses to mortar rounds. Our Rage pushing onwards. Clearing out the house, taking it up, forcing the mortar half-track back. It's not really that heavily armored either, and in fact could be cleared out as well rather quickly. These Panzer Grenadiers are also taking quite a bit of fire. And Luftwaffe troops are moving in. Will they take up a covering position behind the pickup truck? No, they are moving too far beyond the cover. No, there we go. Up behind the pickup truck. Mortar nearby as well. Opening up. Heavy losses. Sounds like a Panzer Grenadier team was lost. No, it was the Kettenkrad. Incendiary rounds being dropped. Luftwaffe troops continuing to fire. 2 kills so far. Armored car in to flank. Panzer Grenadier setting up here. Veterans 1, in fact. Nice job. These Panzer Grenadiers are out in the open, but they are getting quite a bit of firepower in on these riflemen who are in fact down on low health. Well, might have to retreat. Luftwaffe troops are in fact retreating, have suffered quite a bit near that pickup truck. And the other rifleman team is also quick to get out of there.
Listen up, rifles.
Things are still not looking too good for our Rage. He's able to keep up the pressure, but at the same time he's not gaining a lot of territory. Wait a minute, he does actually have a rather curious configuration, but he does have most of the territory, and in fact most of the victory points. In fact, he has the one closest to the opponent's base. That's actually a bit of interesting maneuver. Panzer Grenadiers getting quickly into this building, and with a mortar nearby, that might actually be a bit of a bad move. But setting up with a rather heavy bunch of positions. Armored car slowly getting back, heavily damaged in fact, and lots of Panzer Grenadiers in this house in fact. Covering all windows more or less. A direct assault on that might be dangerous. Then again, a few grenades and mortar rounds might in fact quickly clear it out. Remember that buildings do possess a sort of 3-dimensional escape, and of course units clumped up in one side will of course be more exposed to grenades and mortar rounds, since they are in fact, oh dear, mortar rounds hitting the engineers. The engineers are once more taking quite a beating, forced to retreat in the face of the armored car. The mortar as well. Get out of there, Mr. Mortar Crew, you are alone. Beyond enemy lines. Oh dear, and the mortar is gone. In fact, the mortar is lost as well. We are seeing a medic station up for our range. In fact, quite interesting. Although losing that mortar was a bit unfortunate. German mortar moving up a lot closer. In fact, crashing straight into the building. And that's perhaps not the best move. And there we go. Frontal assault on the building. Armored car providing support. Mortar as well. Riflemen suffering quite heavily. And grenades being thrown at the building. Panzer grenadiers, though, are quick to get out behind the building. Good job there. And quick to get into it once more. Nice job there. Armored car, though, is getting out of there. One more grenade on the Panzer grenadiers. 2 killed.
Enemy unit.
And further Panzer grenadiers and Luftwaffe troops. And what is this? Air support is being called in. Finally getting made available for Dog Company to help with all of this infantry. Not a bad move, although artillery support could also have been chosen to really deal with this strong point. Luftwaffe troops quickly repairing the armored car. Still heavy losses for the Americans. They are certainly having a bit of trouble pushing through, and the Germans are really holding up on this point. And now we are seeing a light anti-tank half-track, really expecting perhaps some armor coming up from Dog Company, but perhaps that will never arrive. We cannot say as of yet.
Ready to fight, sir.
But Dog Company certainly has taken quite a beating, quite depleted, lost its weapon support.
We have paratroopers circling.
But now the Air Force have arrived, and airborne are also being made ready to support Dog Company on their assault. This being a rather important objective. If not cleared out, the Germans might be able to call in a lot more artillery during the assault on that small piece of land holding the Cotentin Peninsula connected to the rest of the Wehrmacht forces. Another frontal assault. Sticky bombs apparently being made ready to drop on that armored car, but the armored car realizes what's going on and gets out of there. But no, not far enough. Sticky bombed, grenades on the building. Panzer grenadiers slowing down this infantry team, and the armored car is immobilized. Panzer grenadiers charging in. Strafing run could do quite a bit of damage here, but apparently will not. Flamethrowers charging in. Luftwaffe troops being scorched and getting out of there. And grenades and everything being dropped. Looks like quite a successful assault. Anti-tank half-track not focusing its fire, though, on these riflemen. And in the process, in fact, taking quite a bit of actual fire, taking quite a bit of damage. And the Panzer grenadiers are clumping up. Oh dear. One strafing run right here, and it might be game over for the 17th SS, but no, they are getting out of there. Medics running about, getting captured wounded Americans back to the medic station. And the hunt for the mortar half-track continues. The anti-tank half-track getting sticky bombed. And flamethrowers scorching away, trying to hold their position, but they are cleared up by the Panzer grenadiers. Anti-tank half-track might be cleared out, so will the mortar half-track, but no, the riflemen are ignoring the anti-tank half-track. That's a bad move. No, there we go. Out of control half-tracks.
Enemy unit down.
And that was just most of the support assets for the 17th SS leaving behind on their Panzer grenadiers. Airborne now being called in to support. Interesting move. And riflemen moving in from the south. Wirbelwind Flakpanzer. Oh dear, that's certainly calling upon some of the heavier armored assets they can call upon in the area. Where it was, I have no idea though. But nonetheless, there it is. Ready to blast off a lot of munitions. Airborne getting recoilless rifles to halt this threat. Good move, good move. But Panzer grenadiers are taking quite a few losses in this heavy skirmish right now. The fighting certainly have gone on quite longer than expected, I'm wager, for 1st Infantry Division. But Dog Company perseveres, and the 17th SS are slowly being eroded. Not really choosing any good battles, choosing a bit of a sort of grind fight, and not really going too quickly for any sort of heavier assets. The Wirbelwind coming a bit too late. No Fallschirmjäger either, which could also have been of help. And not really going for this area either. That's a bit interesting. They didn't get any kitten crash to actually take the positions there. And recoilless rifles being equipped. Wirbelwind training quite a bit of fire. Panzer grenades being torn apart. Veterancy 2 with offensive veterancy. Oh dear. Sticky bombs now going on off in the Wirbelwind as well. And it is choosing the wrong targets. It's choosing the ones in the building. Oh dear, why not the ones out in the open? Wirbelwind, oh dear. And one more shot from the recoilless rifle. There we go. Main gun destroyed and everything destroyed. Luftwaffe troops nearby, but they are not in a good position now. Veterancy 2 riflemen and Veterancy 1 airborne, opening quite a bit. Luftwaffe troops might take up position in the postal office. Armored car moving in from the rear to cover, but the airborne will force it to retreat. And what is this? Another light anti-tank half-track. I do believe he might be misevaluating the situation a bit, apparently expecting some sort of armor belt with airborne and riflemen. He probably should be sort of imagining, in particular since there's BARs, grenades and sticky bombs. That's usually an indicator that he's not going to be going for vehicles right away, but instead lots of riflemen, in fact. And this armored car is taking quite a bit of damage. Riflemen moving in as well. And these panzer grenades, oh dear, repairing a unit while under fire. Really big no. And the armored car alongside those panzer grenades lost.
Points left.
Fresh forces, or semi-fresh forces moving in. Lots of Gewehr 43s though. And those Luftwaffe troops might want to get out there and support the panzer grenades as well if they really want to push through. They really need as much infantry on the field as well. And this anti-tank half-track must also support, but no, apparently not. Instead, they are holding back. This is a bad move, a very bad move. In fact, this could be the moment where Dog Company finally breaks the back of the SS Panzer Grenadiers in this area and clear the heights. And BAR fire continuing to blast away. Further airborne in fact taking up positions right here on this small area overlooking this spot. Not a bad idea, but they might want to get a bit closer. Grenades being dropped on the Panzer Grenadiers right in the midst of them. Oh dear, Panzer Grenadier team is lost, forcing the rest to retreat. And again, why did he not move in the Luftwaffe or the anti-tank half-track? I have no idea. That could have helped a bit with a bit of focus fire. And GG. Quino realizing he has lost the fight and he is retreating. A loss for the fatherland. Dog Company broke through and secured the heights. The combination of 17th SS and Luftwaffe troops did not put up a strong enough fight. What could have been done? Well, again, I'll be trying to keep it short, but again, getting some more support up for the infantry. Mortar half-track, in fact, was well, but it was too close to the front lines. Armored car, a bit too passive. He didn't really push enough in these. He didn't really use Kettenkreuz enough right here. Instead, he in fact allowed the Americans to really get most of the map, and he got himself dug into a sort of straight-out slugfest, which is not really where the Panzer Elite excels. So there you go. And of course, we'll have the second battle now that the area overlooking the heights has been cleared out. We'll be seeing the actual fight for the last strip of land connecting the Cotentin Peninsula. My goodness, a bit of wrong pronunciation there, with the rest of the Reich. So there you go. And welcome again to the second part of Operation Flash. Yes, indeed, the fictitious operation for the last strip of land connecting the Cotentin Peninsula with the rest of the German forces. Now the main assault begins, and it's a 2 vs 2 on rails and metals. Being a small transport hub, it has been secured by the 91st Luftlande Division for the moment, under the command of Chum 39 Major with a whole battalion. But of course, the 17th SS Company, now under the command of Latrodectus, after Quino getting himself killed during the retreat, he suddenly found himself with a field promotion and is now leading the survivors to hold this area for the rest of those German troops caught up there in Cherbourg and the surrounding area. So who shall be facing them? We shall be seeing Kitten. Yes, that's a really pronounceable name. 1st Infantry Division, Able Company. And to support him we do have British. Well, apparently some British got themselves really confused on the beaches and somehow ended up in the American sector, and so found themselves rounded up for Operation Flash. Apparently again fictitious, so I suppose I can't get away with things like these. But nonetheless, Empire leader, worst reader of maps in the British army, finds himself fighting for the Americans, much to, well, I'm probably sure everybody else will have a bit of fun at him for that when he returns to the British sector. But for now, he is part of Operation Flash, a temporary attachment to Able Company. So let's get this started, shall we? Let's not malinger and hang about. Of course, the interesting bits, of course, are this house being able to control rather large bits of this area, of course, meaning this is a hotspot, and we'll probably see a lot of fighting between the 17th SS and Able Company. And of course, there's this house, which you might see some more fighting between the British and the 91st Luftlande Division's 2nd Battalion. Of course, we'll have to see how this will all work out. Will the Americans be able to break through and salute? And a high, all nice and dandy. Wehrmacht quarters coming up, Kettenkraut moving up, Panzer Grenadiers out as well. And we are seeing a weapon support center up. Apparently interesting, opting for this sort of weapon support start. Usually means you're rather expecting your teammate to go rather heavy on the infantry approach. Looks like the reconnaissance section is spotting out a point for the British to set up an advanced base. And we're also seeing a Bren carrier out. Rather interesting move, although I'm not entirely sure that's going to be an entirely balanced way, which might in fact allow for the German forces to catch them off guard and deliver a sound blow if they do things right. Pioneers moving out. We'll of course have to see, and we are in fact seeing a bike Sundap out from the 91st. Apparently opting to spawn out the British, and perhaps might be expecting a Bren carrier, of course, so not a bad move there. Panzer Grenadiers taking up position in this building, of course expecting perhaps, yes, a weapon support center start. And of course a heavy machine gun there could of course do quite a bit of damage, but if they're Panzer Grenadiers instead, of course, the heavy machine gun can't get in there. So nicely identified by Latrodectus. As such, Hauptsturmführer for the company there of the 17th SS Panzer Grenadiers. Engineers in fact coming quite on a bit of fire. Kettenkraut and Panzer Grenadiers charging in. Heavy machine gun though might get the setup there. In fact, there we go. Kettenkraut is in a rather bad spot. Panzer Grenadiers coming under heavy fire from the 30 caliber. And we are seeing a small engagement right here. Bike and Pioneers up against a recon section and a Bren carrier. They will have to get out of there before they are torn apart. And in fact, the Bike is taking quite a bit of fire. There we go. Retreating, realizing it cannot win. And no, a heavy machine gun. No Foot Grenadiers as of yet. No actual infantry. Panzer Grenadiers scanning the flank of this heavy machine gun. Good job there. Always a good thing there to sort of expose the thing. Oh dear, British troops moving in instead. Getting a nice flanking position this time around on the Panzer Grenadiers. Bren carrier right in the middle of things. British reconnaissance troops charging in as well. Without heed to anything. But now they are finding themselves a bit exposed by fire from all sides. One is down already. And the Americans are pushing through, taking a bit of territory and getting further heavy machine guns. That's perhaps not the best move, and these British traps will have to get out there again. Standing out in the open is a bad move. You want to actually take cover. Oh dear, don't tell me he's actually going to lose an infantry section this early on. That's a 450 manpower loss, which is absolutely horrific. But no, another infantry section is out, and this one barely survives. Bren carrier gets out of there, and might they chop up in it and get a flank on this heavy machine gun? I cannot say. It looks like they might be getting up in it. Yes, no, yes. Using the Bren carrier for infantry transport. And we are seeing a sniper out now, but still no infantry from the 91st Luftlande Division. Apparently the 2nd Battalion doesn't have much infantry, having suffered quite heavily apparently. And bikes sending up their engineers coming under a lot of fire. Headquarters command truck there securing this munitions port, and of course British troops can secure territory from inside the Bren carrier, but do keep in mind they do it rather more slowly. Heavy machine gun sitting up there, apparently slowly advancing, and now getting a sniper himself, hoping to perhaps push through here. I cannot say, but it looks like a rather diverse effort from the two. Apparently the two aren't really able to coordinate efforts, which of course can be a bit of a problem when you're British and American. The question is, of course, how much coordination there between the two heavy machine guns sitting up here. Able to do a bit of nice covering of this area, but can't really cover this bit. And these chaps are coming under a lot of fire from heavy machine gun and the bike. And German sniper opening up as well, Sniper König. Kettenkraut moving about, Panzer Grenadiers moving back and forth. Sniper continuing, already got no kills so far, but he might be scouted by that Kettenkraut. Or not, if he had actually just been standing out there in the open. We're also seeing a Kampfgruppe company out from the 17th SS, and we are seeing an infantry half-track. Heavy machine gun setting up. Oh dear, might not looking good for these Panzer Grenadiers, but The Hauptmann is quick to get his panzer grenadiers away. In fact, getting out there, but a sniper gets one. Slow push out there from the 91st. Continuing to push. Getting up a Krieg barracks. And now infantry section charging across open territory, but they get the sniper. Good job there. Lieutenant engineer, and we are seeing efforts on all sides. Bren carrier in the north, although it could do with a bit of repairs and perhaps a Vickers machine gun. The Vickers really can do quite a difference. Americans holding this area with a bit more luck now. Heavy machine guns advancing from all sides. Still no infantry, and another heavy machine gun. I can't really say this is the best idea to rely that much on heavy machine guns. And we are seeing an infantry half-track moving past it. In fact, nice maneuver. Oh dear, sniper misses, mind you. And I will be briefly pausing here. This is going to be a round one. In fact, in these sort of matches, if I do keep making them, of course, depends all on reaction. But panzer grenadiers in a half-track, if they get sniped, you will actually lose 2 rather than 1. For some reason, they are heavily exposed, so keep that in mind. If you see a sniper and you have infantry in your half-track, get them out of there. Quickly, quickly, quickly. Anyhow, back to the fight. Sniper in a bad spot there, retreating. Good move, but he might be torn apart by the panzer grenadier and lost. Yes, there we go. Cut down. Heavy machine gun is too slow to turn around. In fact, this is of course the good thing about using a half-track against buildings. You can quickly move about the house faster than the heavy machine gun can in fact react. So there you go. No, that was a bit unfortunate, ending up right in front of it. Second heavy machine gun opening up here on this MG42. Bren carrier moving in. Flanking maneuvers on both sides. One from the British, one from the Panzer Late. Against either side's more static force, and of course that is the danger with static forces. Of course they can't get outflanked by any sort of mobility, like the Bren carrier and reconnaissance here, and the infantry half-track. So nice moves by both the British Empire leader and Latrodictus, whatever that means. And the infantry half-track once more getting ready to flank around this heavy machine gun, and again nice flank infantry half-track, not really caring about that heavy machine gun bit getting about. And the panzer grenadiers conducting a mounted assault, getting out and slowing them down, getting quite a bit of fire. In fact, looks like this heavy machine gun team might be torn apart. And another sniper. Oh, bother. Doesn't really seem like Mr. Hasn't Kidding has an idea of what's going on. And let's go have a look at Latrodictus. Actually seems to be having an idea. Infantry half-track moving about. Tank busters getting ready, apparently expecting some armor. Grenadiers arriving from the 91st. And this Bren carrier taking quite a hit from the Panzerschreck. Now the bike joining in as well. Damaged engine on the Bren carrier. The Bren carrier will have to get out of there. No, it stops up. Oh dear. And the bike takes it out. British troops are now left on their own. No lieutenants to support them. MG4, no, heavy machine gun taking up position here. Not the best spot, I think. Panzer grenadiers and grenadiers moving in. Sniper as well. British troops taking quite a bit of fire. And we are seeing a Panzer support command coming up. Tank busters getting ready as well to deal with any armor or Bren carriers. Looks like this assault having managed to secure one side of the entire area. In fact, the western part of the railroad embankment. Oh dear! Lieutenant torn to bits by the Panzerschreck. That was rather unfortunate. In the meanwhile, looks like this infantry section is being caught out in the open, but getting repaired. But again, repairing while we're in the open, that can really end up badly. Grenadiers continuing though. We'll be seeing further grenadiers. No, a pack instead. 30 caliber opening up, but the 30 caliber is being torn apart on its own by the infantry half-track. Oh dear, this is looking rather muddled. And we are seeing a field support truck up for the British commander. He might be able to call upon some light armor, which could be of help. And we are seeing a casualty clearing station right in the middle of everything. This is a bit too close to the front line though, and a bit so exposed. Oh dear. And the Cotentin crowd doing a bit of reconnaissance here. Engineers charging in with flamethrowers. And rather interesting, while there was no mines being laid down here by the able company troops while they had the chance. Oh dear, headquarters command truck advancing too far and being exposed to Panzerschreck fire. This is not looking good at all. Looks like the Allied effort is completely falling apart. Lack of communication, lack of overall strategy, lack of common sense on behalf of the American commander. My goodness. Had he gone for infantry before getting support weapons, he might have been faring better, but no. He is getting absolutely torn apart, and now his friend as well. And this headquarters command truck is apparently choosing a rather curious path. Apparently the driver is panicking, having not gotten his morning tea and biscuits. Driving straight through enemy lines, completely enraged, completely panicked, and now getting torn apart by machine gun fire. Oh dear, oh dear. This is not looking good at all. Looks like Operation Flash might turn out to be a partial failure, not succeeding in the main point, having secured the highlands, but oh dear, and the headquarters command truck is lost. Unfortunate loss, and this casualty killing station as well. Mortar rounds now being flung in by Chum 898, and we might be seeing some further grenadiers out as well. Panzer grenadiers moving about with Panzerix, much stronger effort this time around from the 17th SS. And we are seeing heavy machine guns once more moving in, flamethrower engineers, snipers, and some riflemen. My goodness, looks like the British are loading up here. Might want to move out quickly though to support with their Bren guns and sniper rifles. They might be able to turn the tide here. Sniper fire on the Panzer grenadiers. Heavy machine gun though cleared up, and the British down there are not moving. Come on, Empire leader. Show you are leader of the British Empire and get your ass moving. Sniper continuing to find out having much luck, and the riflemen are standing out in the open. Oh dear, and these engineers are taking territory while out in the open and under fire. This is bad move all around from Kitten, whatever, able company commander. And the rifleman team was torn apart. Now the British move in. Now, oh dear. Second headquarters command truck out. Not sure what will be coming out of there. British troops might be taking up position here behind all of these wrecked cars, train cars, whatever. Come on, take up positions. No, instead they did not choose this opportunity to really get a lot of firepower on these Panzer grenades that are exposed. Sniper fire gets a tank buster, and the British continue towards the center. Heavy machine gun being forced out by mortar fire. Good job there. Further Panzer grenades with the LMG-42. And now I'm going to have to admit I'm a bit uncertain as to the effectiveness of this. Of course, I have to try it myself further, but currently it does not seem to be much useful there, although it put up a bit of pressure here. And sappers with repair equipment. Curious. Captain, that means of course we might be seeing a Stuart soon. The one thing that might turn the tide. LMG opening up, but it is not standing still. Oh, bloody hell. If you have the LMG-42, stand still with it. Bren gunner is lost. And one, in fact, Bren gun is lost. In fact, this is a bit unfortunate. Sniper fire opening up as well. Sappers opening up, further troops, and a Bren gun is grabbed. Opening up on the British with support from the LMG. Panzerix blowing apart cover. Grenadier team will have to get out of there despite having a Bren gun. Grenades being dropped right on the British. Quite a bit of damage there. Further fighting here, riflemen now with BARs. I really can't help but feel that perhaps some armored cars might have been great of help there. But we'll have to see. Riflemen charging out again out in the middle. Forward barracks there from the 17th SS. This is getting quite heated up on all sides. American pushing forth, British pushing forth, but no real strong efforts though. I fear no mortars from the Americans. And this Kettenkrat still doing a brilliant job at acting as a force observer. And Latrodectus calling upon some armor from a nearby arm replacement and training battalion, the 100th, sending in one of the few Panzer IV F1s, crashing through the American lines, really going to put up the pressure there. British getting torn apart by MG fire and mortar rounds. And are we seeing a Stuart light tank? No, we are not. Riflemen charging right up the Panzer IV locking down, sticky bomb on it. And Empire leader, having realized he might be better off in the British sector, gets out of there. Damn Yanks, he says, fighting like cowboys. And another rifleman team is lost, and the sub commander for Empire leaders now left with the thankless task of sort of trying to hold this together, while Able Company desperately tries to fight on. At least to cause as many casualties, now calling upon air support. Finally getting it as well for here. A bit curious though there wasn't any earlier. Doing quite a bit of damage on these Panzer grenades, but with infantry after nearby they can in fact get reinforced. British continuing to push onwards on all sides. Rather interesting. In fact, this pack is looking a bit exposed, might be captured and cleared out. Further packs being moved in, further pioneers, grenadiers, and well, everything. There we go, the grenadiers moving out now with veterancy 2. Lots of LMGs, Brens, LMG 42s, and Panzerschrecks as well. And now the Panzer IV charges the American base. Nothing to hold it. Another run coming in. Not entirely sure what that was hoping to achieve. Sticky bomb on the Panzer IV, but these riflemen are getting torn apart by the Panzer IV. My goodness. 30 caliber won't do anything either. Quite a bit of fire here. And another strafing run right in the middle of everything, thanks to the, well, reconnaissance run again. Why I didn't do this earlier is beyond me. Panzer grenades moving ahead, but again, not standing still and using their LMGs, of course, that needs to stand still to fire. Captain standing out in the open, courageously firing his Whibley revolver, but again, the British effort seems to have collapsed due to the curious efforts of Able Company, apparently deciding he doesn't want to use his precious infantry to clear up what he thought was an easy task, but instead he's suffering rather heavily on all accounts with no anti-tank assets. The Panzer IV tears through them, and now the engineers are getting slaughtered as well. And the 91st Luftlande Division is securing the center. Grenadiers opening up, British troops doing a bit of harassment. Interestingly enough, the Grenadiers not really doing anything though to really stop it. Curious, but still the Allied forces do hold the west, but I don't think it's going to be enough now that the Allied base is getting torn apart by the Panzer IV. And airborne now dropping in the middle of everything, right in the front of two Grenadier teams with LMGs. What shall happen? Looks like these airborne are getting torn apart. Not entirely sure on the effect of the LMG 42 here. And the Able Company retreats, having realized they can't win either. So there you go. Operation Flash did not succeed in its ultimate goal. It secured in securing the higher area, but it was not able to really deliver any crushing blow to this area. So for now, reinforcements will be continued to be delivered to Cotentin Peninsula and Cherbourg. So what can we learn from this? Of course, don't get a lot of heavy machine guns if you're the Americans, even as the Wehrmacht. You really need infantry to support it, and that really did not work out for the Americans. In fact, much too late. He didn't get any anti-tank assets either. That also bit him in the arse most grievously. The British did alright, but he was a bit too passive with his infantry. Bren Carrier could have done with some repairs, and he could really have done with their tanks a bit earlier, perhaps some light machine gun emplacements, and the casualty clearing station shouldn't have been out that far. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed this sort of larger thing, this sort of operational cast, I suppose. 2 games, slightly larger narrative, and of course some quicker commentary and all that. So if you enjoyed it, why not subscribe or tell your friends? If you didn't, well, why not send a replay of your own? And of course, feedback is welcome on this best of experimental casting I'm doing here. So I hope you enjoyed it, and cheers.